But as is the Leicester way, Chelsea scored with their very first shot on target, and it just happened to be Ben Chilwell. I mean, it had to be, didn't it?
What the fucks?
Leicester's side started with Daniel Ward in goal, Danny Amati, Sutar and Farce at the back, with Castagna and Pereira playing wing-back, Mendy and Dewsbury Hall in centre midfield with Maddison pivoting in front of him, and then a very, very strange one really was a rare start for Patson Daka, who played up top with Iheanacho. Chelsea's side, they had Kepa in goal, Cucurella, Koulibaly, Fofana, Chilwell, Kovacic, Fernandes and Loftus-Cheek, with Felix, Havertz and Mudryk leading their front line. It says a lot about recent performances for Leicester City when in 9 minutes Maddison had a shot on target, and it was our first shot on target in 189 Premier League minutes. We actually didn't start the game too bad. We put a fair bit of pressure on Chelsea, we restricted them to very little, but as is the Leicester way, Chelsea scored with their very first shot on target, and it just happened to be Ben Chilwell. I mean, it had to be, didn't it?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Inside 11 minutes, the corner comes in. It's Koulibaly who knocks the ball back across goal. Chilwell's there to volley it in, and he beats Danny Ward at his near post. On closer inspection, Chilwell had absolutely no right to score from there. I mean, Danny Ward should have done better. He should have got down quicker. Being beaten at his near post when the ball seems to almost trickle in is pretty revolting to see as a Leicester City fan. And worse that Chilwell scored and run straight over to the Leicester fans who had been mocking him for the first 11 minutes of the match, booing him every time he touched the ball, and he cups his ears. And I think fair play, to be honest with him. I don't like the guy, but he's had the last laugh there, hasn't he? So 3 minutes later, at the other end of the pitch, we win a free kick in a dangerous position. James Maddison fires it across the goal, and Daniel Amati misses from what must be 2 yards out. An open goal. The ball has come at him very quick, but really he just needed to put his body in the way, and he probably would have scored. On XG, it was a 0.96 chance, which pretty much says that he had to score. There's no way around that. And again, that could have been 1-1 inside 14 minutes. 10 minutes later, João Felix hits the post after he's been put through one-on-one with Danny Ward. He chips him, he hits the post. What I would like to examine here, however, is Daniel Amati. As you can see from these stills, he looks over at Mudryk. He sees that he's there. He follows the ball in after the shot, and he's still miles off Mudryk. I mean, it's a good job that Mudryk wasn't there to actually follow the ball into the net. But Daniel Amati, he sees him and he doesn't go anywhere near him. It does not make sense. Testament to just how end-to-end this game really was. 2 minutes later, Kieran Dewsbury Hall goes up the other end of the pitch, shoots, takes a deflection off Koulibaly, and we've hit the bar. I mean, seriously, a couple of inches lower and it would have been 1-1 again. So we're so unlucky. We're fragile at the back, but we're so unlucky going forward at the moment. On 34 minutes, João Felix has another opportunity, which this time he puts away. Loftus-Cheek runs down the wing. He gets the cross in. João Felix converts it. Fortunately for us, he was offside marginally, and we were saved again by VAR. But at this point, before VAR got involved, the fans lost it. There were boos around the King Power. Chance of Brendan out. It got toxic very, very quickly, and I have to say, in all my time going down the King Power, it has been a very, very long time since I've seen fans lose faith in a match so early on. I mean, it was 34 minutes into the match, and I mean, wow. 5 minutes later, Ricardo Pereira does some superb work winning the ball back in their final third. Gets the ball to Patson Daka, who skips past one or two challenges, hits it with his weaker foot and scores a superb goal. The XG is 0.02, which gives you an idea of just how good that shot was. That goal really reinvigorated Leicester City. As for the next 5 minutes, we put a barrage of pressure into the Chelsea backline. We had 4 shots within around 3 or 4 minute period. We came close with James Maddison. Iheanacho had a shot, Ricardo had a pop, and Maddison had another shot blocked. We were on top and it looked like we could have gone 2-1 up. On 46 minutes, there's a pause in play. Havertz goes down after Amate kicks the ball into him. They're claiming that it's a high foot and he should be sent off. That kind of breaks up the play a little bit and stops the Leicester pressure, which ultimately leads to 5 minutes later. 6 minutes into added on time in the first half, Chelsea get a second. Kai Havertz. I have no idea what's going on here really. Enzo Fernandez seems to be given the key to the city with all the space that he needs to pick his pass, and he scoops the ball up, picks out Kai Havertz, who lobs the ball over Danny Ward. Danny Ward, I don't know, I'm just lost for words really. He's a tall goalkeeper and he looks like he just didn't even jump for it. I don't know if it caught him off guard or what, but you know, again, it was largely preventable, some poor defending and some poor goalkeeping. 2-1 right before half time is just not what you want, and it changes games. And here's a little stat, thanks to Jordan Blackwell of the Leicester Mercury. Leicester have earned 0 points in games they have trailed at half time this season. You have to go back to Southampton in December 2021 when we last earned a point when behind at half time. We've earned just 2 points from 19 games when trailing at half time since the start of last season. It's just not good enough, is it really? At half time, Graham Potter makes a change. He brings on Gallagher for João Felix, and that pretty much changed the second half for James Maddison, as Gallagher was just always nibbling at his heels, man marking him, keeping him out the game, and that really did make us a bit quieter. Certainly with Maddison, who did pick up a knock halfway through the second half and struggled from that point on. On 46 minutes, our afternoon almost got twice as bad, as Fofana had a header from a Chilwell corner. Very, very well saved by Danny Ward. The atmosphere, had that gone in, would have been awful, because we've got a habit of conceding straight after half time. We did it against Arsenal. I believe at Manchester United it didn't take long either. But to have Chilwell cross the ball in for Fofana is just a recipe for disaster. And I mean, it would have hurt. It really would have hurt. There's a little bit of a malaise for the next 20 minutes. But on 65 minutes, Sutar had a chance cleared off the line with a 0.4 XG, which is pretty high. Leicester fire an effort towards goal from Dewsbury Hall, and Sutar deflects the ball goal bound, but Gallagher is on the line to clear the ball away. A minute later, Brendan Rodgers brings off Papis Mendy for Boubakary Soumaré, and I can tell you that the fans were not happy. There was a lot of heads being shaken. Mendy was playing extremely well, he was linking play very well, and from recent weeks, Soumaré just has not been up to it. It was not a popular choice. At the same time, he brought off Amate for Tete and he brought off Daka for Barnes, which again baffled a lot of fans, because although we know that it's a change of formation, you've taken off the one player who's got a taste for goal. He'd already scored one, and you know what it's like with a striker, that they always say when they get a taste for it and when they get a bit of confidence, that's it, they're gone. And when you think that Iheanacho in particular has not been playing very well recently, he's missed a lot of chances recently, it didn't seem like a wise choice. It didn't seem like a good call at all. A couple of minutes later, as is the Brendan Rodgers way, Chelsea almost score up the other end from a corner. The ball comes in, Havertz gets onto it, and Ward makes a fantastic save in fairness to keep us in the game. 4 minutes later, up the other end, which again just goes to show just how end-to-end this match was. The ball falls to KDH in the box, who just can't sort his feet out, and I mean, technically really, he misses an open goal. And that seems to sum up our afternoon really. It sums us up in front of goal just lately, in fact. 3 minutes later, Mudryk goes up the other end, he thinks he's scored, he celebrates in front of the Chelsea fans, but he gets called offside, which was, you know, on the funnier side. A minute later, Jamie Vardy comes on for Iheanacho, which again, I don't think a lot of fans, as much as Jamie Vardy's a legend here at this club, I don't think a lot of fans were too happy about, because Vardy has been bang out of form recently, and although we all really wish that he would just come up with those vital goals that he's so well known for against the big six clubs, it just isn't happening for him at the moment, and quite often, you know, it's like playing with 10 men at the moment with Jamie Vardy. Again, like I said before, as is always the way with Brendan Rodgers, 2 minutes later, 2 minutes after we make a substitute, we concede, and it's 3-1 to Chelsea. Mateo Kovacic gets onto a header back across goal from Mudryk, He has no right to score again, and he just flicks it in. And, you know, the reality is from the replays, you can see, although it's come at him fast, Danny Ward should perhaps have done better again. You could argue that Schmeichel probably would have. From that point on, the stadium empties, and there's just a chorus of boos. From that point on, you have the whole of SK1 chanting for Brendan Rodgers to go, and it got very toxic from that point. 10 minutes later, Wesley Fofana is subbed off for Badiashile. I mean, I can't see it as very well advised, but they made him go off on the far end of the pitch and have to walk around the whole of SK1 and the main stand to go back to the subs bench. And he got dog's abuse. I mean, it was a great chant from Leicester City, but ultimately Fofana's had the last laugh, let's be honest, you know. And as he was walking around the pitch on 87 minutes, Wout Fast goes in quite heavy in a challenge, and he gets a second yellow card, and that's a red, and he's off. Which obviously leaves us with a bit of an issue for Brentford next week. So, you know, I can only imagine that little Wes was probably laughing to himself in that moment, and, you know, our afternoon was done by this point anyway. So there was a silver lining. On 90 minutes, Johnny Evans came on for James Maddison. Johnny Evans has been out for most of the season, and it does, you know, hopefully he'll be fit for Brentford next week, and that will sort out part of the defensive issues. But ultimately, it was just incredibly disappointing afternoon. We did have our chances, we didn't put them away again, which seems to be the story of our season at the moment. There were 7 minutes added on at the end of the match, and it was just lifeless. I mean, Chelsea passed the ball around. I know we were down to 10 men, but Chelsea was just passing it around, and we just looked so lethargic. We'd stopped running. There was a chorus of "We want Brendan out." I say a chorus, it was from where I was sat. You know, it was non-stop pretty much. The banners came out to say that Rodgers needs to go and the board needs to act. And yeah, it was just poor. At full time, the boos rang around the KP, but I have to be honest, it wasn't that audible because there was only about 20% of the King Power left. You could hear the Chelsea fans cheering, but you know, the reality is most of the Leicester fans had already gone. It seems that Top was in attendance today, and he would have witnessed that. He would have seen the stadium empty after around 78 minutes. He would have heard the chants. He would have seen the banners. And you know, you could say we're a very discontented club and fan base at the moment. You know, it's not good. We've got some very, very, very realistic fears of relegation right now. Things don't seem to be getting better, and Brendan Rodgers is just uninspiring the fans and not filling us with confidence, basically.
What the fuck's